The empty desert stretches for miles, its cracked ground shining under the hot sun. A lone rider appears on the horizon, standing out against the light. The sound of his horse's hooves breaks the silence. As he gets closer to the deserted town, the air feels thick with quiet, disturbed only by the soft rustling of dust. Long shadows stretch across the ground, moving toward the rider like ghosts from the past. The last journey, a Hmong shaman's ritual. On his way he sees a young woman tied to a tree. Neng jumps off his horse, landing with a solid thud. His sword gleams in the sunlight, reflecting the fire in his eyes. He tightens his jaw, looking up at the tall tree. The branches hang above like silent witnesses, framing the woman tightly bound against the rough bark. She looks pale and fearful. Tears are on the woman's dirty cheeks as she breathes heavily, feeling both fear and hope. Neng cuts the ropes that tied her hands, and now they are free. Sunlight shines through the branches above, touching her face gently. This is a brief moment of relief in the midst of the pain she has endured. Neng continued his journey and found a swaying bridge. He stepped onto it carefully. Each step made the wooden planks creak. The ropes strained as the wind whistled through the canyon, pulling on the bridge and threatening its weak hold. Below him, the chasm was wide, and mist covered its jagged depths, showing only glimpses of the rough rocks below. He took a deep breath, tightened his grip on the frayed ropes, and stepped further into the emptiness. The icy village is silent from a distance, with snow-covered rooftops that have caved in and walls covered in frost. Neng rides through the empty town, his dark shape standing out against the vast, frozen landscape. The wind softly howls, carrying the sound of cracking ice, and the faint memory of what used to be as the lifeless village still surrounds him. Neng reached a frozen lake on his journey. He stood by the lake, clearly visible against the water. The surface looked like silver, reflecting the wide, cloudy sky above. Gentle ripples changed the reflection, blending shades of blue and gold as the wind moved over the lake. In the distance, tall mountains surrounded the calm scene, their snow-covered tops sparkling in the soft sunlight. The horse stands tall against the darkening sky. Its powerful body is outlined clearly. Wings appear from its sides in a bright burst of light. The feathers shimmer with a faint, otherworldly glow. Neng steps back, his eyes wide with awe, as the wings stretch to their full span, catching the golden light of the setting sun. The air crackles with energy, the moment charged with a sense of destiny taking flight. Neng and his winged horse fly smoothly over the large lake, their shapes visible against the golden colors of the setting sun. The scene is beautiful, the water reflects their flight, and the ripples move gently with each flap of the horse's glowing wings. The lake stretches for miles, surrounded by distant snow-capped mountains that seem to honor their beauty. The quiet is interrupted only by the sound of wings cutting through the air. He arrived at the crossroads between heaven and hell. The guest house is a beautiful place in the middle of the desert. Its design gives off warmth as night comes. Soft lanterns light up the walls, casting a gentle glow on the polished stone paths and creating flickering reflections in the shallow pools. Outside, the desert stretches endlessly, with golden dunes fading into shadows. The first stars are starting to appear in the darkening sky. Neng walks through the ornate doorway, briefly illuminated by the warm light inside. In front of him, he sees his friends sitting at a large table. Laughter fills the room as crystal glasses clink and golden platters shine under the soft lights of the chandeliers. Rich fabrics cover the walls and the air smells of roasted meats and spiced wine. The light reflects off the beautiful feast, creating a dreamlike look over the scene as Neng takes it all in. Neng's eyes are filled with anger as he holds his friend's collar tightly. The soft light shows the tension on his forehead, making his anger clear. His gaze is sharp and steady, serving as a clear warning. The silence between them is thick with unspoken disapproval, and the heaviness of his anger fills the air. Neng's anger flares as his disapproval of his friend's reckless indulgence boils over, drawing the attention of the thugs in the guest house. They move in, sensing an opportunity to take advantage of the tension. But Neng reacts with lightning speed, his sword slicing through the air with deadly precision. The thugs encircle him, but his strikes are sharp and purposeful, quickly cutting through the chaos. The sound of clashing steel fills the air, his blade gleaming in the light as his intense gaze locks onto each target. Dust rises around him as he twists and turns, moving with a perfect balance of strength and grace, leaving his enemies staggered and off balance in the wake of his fury. The blades clash in a burst of raw energy, Neng's sword meeting the thug's weapon with a resounding metallic clang. In the tight frame, the moment stretches, sparks erupting in a dazzling spray of light. Each ember arcs through the air in slow motion, illuminating the tension etched in the hero's determined grip and the shudder of steel under the force of the blow. Neng stands strong, his sword lowered but still shining with a hint of danger. The defeated thugs lie on the floor around him, groaning in pain and holding their wounds. Light comes through the broken windows, casting long shadows over the scene. Dust floats in the air, swirling around Neng as he looks at the results of his hard-won victory. The lady of the guest house starts to change. Her graceful figure twists and scales appear on her skin. Her shadow grows larger, darkening the room. A low hissing sound fills the air as her body stretches, towering over the hero and his friend. The faint glow from the lantern flickers and dims, swallowed by the darkness. The huge snake-like figure looms above them, her shadow covering everything in its way. In quick succession, Neng dives to the side, narrowly avoiding the snapping jaws of the snake monster, its fangs gleaming with venom. His sword arcs through the air, striking the scaly body with a sharp, resonant impact. Another close-up reveals the blade tearing through tough scales, dark ichor oozing from the wound. The venom splashes onto the ground in hissing droplets, sizzling as it burns through the stone floor, while Neng's determined face flashes in and out of focus amidst the chaos. Neng opens his eyes, awake and clear after a deep trance. His intense gaze cuts through the quiet, and the lines on his weathered face show stories of battles fought and burdens carried. The flickering light from the altar casts shadows that highlight every scar and wrinkle, marking a life of struggle. With strong determination, he looks at the horizon, where the flames reflect as a guiding light. Suddenly, it all makes sense. This journey, the challenges he faced, and the people he met were all part of his ritual, a path he must take to uncover the deeper power within himself. The room is filled with warm candlelight, and shadows move across the walls. Neng kneels beside his sick friend's bed and performs Yue Nib carefully and with respect. He moves calmly. An altar with burning incense sticks and offerings release fragrant smoke into the air, mixing with quiet prayers. The sick friend lies still pale and fragile. The soft light makes the scene feel quiet and sacred. After the ritual, Neng purposefully folds his worn cloak and packs his old satchel. He moves deliberately, with his shoulders sagging and his eyes resting on familiar items. The soft light shows the rough texture of his belongings, reminding him of the long journeys they have shared. He is getting ready to face another chapter in his difficult path. It is time to go home. Neng walks steadily toward the horizon, getting smaller in the wide desert. The setting sun fills the landscape with a warm golden glow that quickly turns to shadows on the sand. He moves forward with strength and determination as the light fades. He leaves behind the soft sounds of the wind and the long journey still ahead.